toilet training. Let's understand the facts. This is for a 2-year-old. I'm going to tell you a personal story. It was right before Graham's 6th birthday. So his birthday is January 14th, and it was Christmas. I have 2 boys. I was married. I didn't get anything for Christmas. Not so much as a pair of socks, much less a toaster oven, nothing. There was not one present under the tree for me, even though I'm the one who puts up the tree. I'm the one that gets the whole family together. I'm the one who's making Christmas dinner. Fine. And even my husband turned around and he goes, wow, I feel really bad. There's no presents for you. And I was like, you think? And one of the things I really tried to instill in him, that even if he didn't want to give me a present, one of the reasons we're not married anymore, but he's not teaching his children how to be men, and that they needed to have that, like something for mom or whatever. There was nothing. So, but 2 days before Christmas, finally, Graham was potty trained. And I'm telling you, I had the biggest grin on my face knowing I'd never have to change another diaper. So when you give me a statement about toilet training, I can write a whole encyclopedia on it. Are we talking about an atypical, typical child? So let's explain the facts. There are 2 orifices for every sense. There are 2 eyes, there's 2 nostrils, and for gravity, it's the mouth and the anus, right? So that's why kids chew on stuff and all this sort of stuff. They're learning what kind of effort to put in anything. What goes in has to come out, and it goes through the digestive system and it lets go. The coccyx, the tailbone, right, sits there like a drawbridge, right? And fecal matter comes and puts weight on it. So when a baby's first born, any weight, they'll just go out, right? There's no timing a diaper. And we start to learn how to, what they call, hold it, right? And we allow this, but if there's a certain weight, no difference in our tongue, right? A lot of people go for the swallow and the suck and so forth, but like a drawbridge, the hyoid bone is here. It's meant to, quote, anchor the tongue. But when we're sticking our tongue out, like if we're licking an ice cream, right, the weight is here. But at some point, as we form a bolus, getting ready to swallow, there's a certain amount of weight that's in our tongue that allows for that swallow to happen. If that doesn't happen, this is where we get gag and penetration and choking and all those kind of things. And then also, too, as we get more sophisticated with that, let's say if we had carrots or something, like it surprises us like 20 minutes later, right? A lot of kids, again, when they're special needs, can't do that with their tongue, right? They haven't learned. That's why with special needs children, and again, speech is affected, you see tongue movements are more, but it's not. See where that counterbalance is. Also tongue-tied. All of this can affect. So when the fecal matter is bearing weight on the coccyx, that's when you get to a point where you see a child being able to hold it or get that, ooh, I've got to go potty, before it actually just happens of weight going on and letting that go. And then again, though, depending on, let's say if there's spasticity, there could be too much in here, and that's where kids with CP tend to get constipated. They also tend to get constipated too because, Haley, while you're up, I'm going to just trouble you. Can I have those 2 spine bones? Right there, the red there. Yeah, right there. So when I'm walking, right, and crossing midline, and these are why the milestones are so important with all of this, guys, I'm actually massaging my organs, right? I'm crossing midline, I'm counter-crossing. It's the inside of the vertebrae. And this is, again, where I'm walking and I'm getting all of this. It moves, it transits your digestive system. It massages the kidneys, massages the lungs, the heart. All of that happens because you're crossing midline. Now, if a child is stagnant, where they can't get up and do those kind of things, like a squat, squat also opens up the tailbone. That's why pulling up to standing is not a milestone. It will affect, the way that you toilet change. You should be able to squat and go down and present and come back up. It's not a fall, right? And this is, again, why senior citizens start to go into these kind of things. When people lose their movements, they tend to be more constipated, don't get out much, don't do those kind of things, really because their bowels aren't working. And then they get really bad because they can't get out of the toilet, in a restaurant because it's all smooth. At home, they have the dresser or something, like, the countertop that they can pull on, but, or maybe a secure bar, but those things are not in public restrooms. And so not even being presenting to the toilet, again, later on, you start seeing, especially in toiletry, guys, that's where you see the regression back into childhood or infancies, right? People ending up in diapers and things because they can't control their bowel movements. So what you're looking for first is, do I have good tongue movements? Can my tongue protrude outside my face, right? That's why blowing raspberries is one of the biggest missed milestones, about 4.5 months, right? That's your speech. That's toiletry control. All of those things come into play. Where do we need to work on? I'm not trying to say what's wrong with the child. I'm trying to say, what are the things that we need to work on? And those tongue movements, again, licking ice cream, lollipops, do we have, again, a tongue tie release that maybe needs to be looked into? Because then again, that could affect your toiletry. Because again, if I can't get my tongue out, I can't get the squat to release the tailbone. That's why the pubic bone strike also happens at around 4.5 months, to create all of this within the mouth movements. Is my child exploring things with their mouth, right? Or are they just, again, lying there? Or are they unable to bring stuff to the mouth? This is also the big thing that happened with COVID, because we don't want kids to bring things to the mouth. But again, at the same time, we need to offer these movements to them. So again, are they able to squat, or are they scissoring? Are they doing all of this? Is there availability for the tailbone to open up to handle all of this? Those are the things to look at. Now, also, most people only look at the cognitive. I tried everything from Reese's peanut butter cups to whatever to offer him. The only thing that got him instant reward for sitting on the toilet was a car, a Matchbox car. I had enough cars for an army. But someone wisely said to me, do you want more cars or do you want less diapers? I was like, okay, we'll go for more cars. So at first it was, you sit down, because you can't say, oh, if you do potty all week, there's a star, we'll go. No, time doesn't exist in a kid's brain. So you can't do the reward system. The reward needs to be instant of getting there. Now, the reward could be just a book that they get to sit there and read their favorite book, but they get it on the potty. First, you just want them to get used to the experience, the bathroom, the potty, and all of that. Please experiment with different toilets. Some kids get real set that it has to be their potty, and you end up carrying it around with you everywhere you go. Find ways of variation, right? But right now, we just want the act of toiletry. And so that's what you're looking for, is the act of sitting. And now it's sitting in performance. Then you get a book, or then you get a car, or then you get a Reese's peanut butter cup, whatever is your reward system. It needs to be instant. I wouldn't use the phone, because now you're teaching the phone is sort of like, oh, I use the phone and now I'm just going to go potty, and there goes the diapers. So I would use something that's a little bit different. And then it's like, oh, if you do number 1, you get a car. And then if you get number 2, and the process should take about 2 weeks. Again, depending on the severity of your child, sometimes you have to lock it up. But also, too, do a diary. When a child gets up, they're going to have to go, right? All of us do. So you get up from the bed and you do that. You start to see them stirring. Don't wait for that stir to happen until they're fully awake, because during that stirring is usually when they soil. Get them up, get them to the potty. Then usually either after breakfast, then around lunch, break time, lunchtime, afternoon break, dinner time, right? It's so about every 2 to 2.5 hours that you want to offer toiletry habits to your child. So again, if you're going to work full time, these kind of things, you might have to take almost a week off to instigate these kind of things, or make sure that they're using the same kind of techniques at your daycare or whatever you're using, or who if someone else is watching your child. So these are kind of things that you're looking at, but you have to judge. You're like, oh, I'm glad to go in the car. And it's going to take, well, they always have a diaper in the car. Well, then before you go, or when you get there, you have to, or maybe you have to stop to do all these things. A child does what's easiest, and going in the diapers is the easiest. We have to show them, and at some point I had to tell my child, again, you're not going to play. You got to go clean up now. You've got to do it all. And you know, again, depending where you're at, you don't have that cognitive prowess with a 2-year-old. That would be more like a 4-year-old or a 6-year-old, depending on, again, where your child's at. But those are the things that you're guiding and looking at. Did they get those milestones? And if not, that's why you're in the Fast Start program. So you're starting to get better foundations on all those kind of milestones that you think you mastered, but maybe they didn't, and you need a little help with that. Thanks.